Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting the program shortly. Please start making your way to your seats. Thank you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin the ceremony shortly. If you could, please start making your way to your seats. The bar will remain open, so if you're in line, by all means, stay in line, but I want to start moving toward the seats. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we can do better than that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, thank you. My name is Walker McCrary. I'm going to serve as our host tonight as we get ready to honor the legacy of 5 outstanding individuals that have contributed a lot to this department, both on the field, the court, sidelines, in the buildings, and of course in the shipyard as well. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. The bar is going to remain open. By all means, feel free to go back there, get a drink whenever you want to. You notice there's no podium here. This is, it's a formal event, obviously, but we want it to be a little bit casual as well. So by all means, feel free to continue to make your way to the bar and have some fun, get some drinks, whatever you want to do, okay? Before we start dinner, we have a couple of people who want to come up and give their welcomes to all of you. We're going to start first with our Director of Athletics at the Apprentice School, Mr. Jeff Enont.
He gets the Chicago Bulls and everything.
Thank you, Walker. Good evening. Again, my name is Jeff Enott, Director of Athletics at the Apprentice School. I can't thank you guys enough for being here. This is such a great night to be able to honor past inductees, honor our 24 inductees, and just see you guys and everyone gather, socialize, fellowship, and just relive those glory days of the Apprentice School and everything, the shipyard, all those good times. So I do really appreciate you being here, taking time out of your evening, and supporting this event. We kicked off our Hall of Fame weekend this morning, bright and early. We had our second annual golf tournament out at Sleepy Hole. So anyone that's here that took part, thank you for doing that. We're just trying to create a weekend that brings back individuals, former inductees, anyone associated with the Apprentice School and Apprentice School athletics to come together and just, again, socialize, fellowship, and just be around each other, telling those good old stories about the good old days. So thank you again for that. We're going to get into the evening and honor our new inductees. This is our 6th year. And if you think about it, sports have been with the Apprentice School for over 100 years. So we have some catching up to do, and we're trying our best to do that. And we're honored and thankful that we can continue to create this event or hold this event for our inductees. I don't want to talk to you to death, but what I would like to talk about is this year, it's been a long time coming. We've been able, through the donations and the support of a lot of different individuals and organizations, we've been able to create a physical Hall of Fame. Again, like I said a little bit ago, we've been around, or athletics has been around for a long time here at the Apprentice School. And to have something that's physical, that's something that's, at the school that people can come and actually touch and scroll through and see the history that we have, it's really a big deal. And to Walker and I, it's been a huge accomplishment because if you know, sometimes things with the shipyard, it's really like the littlest things at the shipyard is big things to accomplish or to kind of get over that hill or whatever. So we're really proud of this. So I hope if it's not tomorrow when we have an open house from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. before the football game, if it's not tomorrow, please take time to come by the school at some point. Call me. I will get you checked in and walk you around and take you to the Hall of Fame, but come check it out. Especially our inductees. Would love for you guys, or former inductees, to come check it out. And we got some of y'all got your pictures from way back when you played and history and all that stuff. So we really want you guys to come check it out. Bring your friends, bring your family. I just want it to be a piece where you can come and really feel proud about your years and your time here at the Apprentice School. So that's tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. if you can, right before the football game. So enjoy this evening. Thank you again so much for the support. Before I call up our next speaker, I just really want to thank the Apprentice Athletic Booster Club, Peninsula Sports Club, Karen Barefoot's family, Jim Bundick, I think, and Keisha Anderson. And I know I'm forgetting folks, but there's a lot of people that made this happen. And again, I'm super proud that we have something physical at the school that we can showcase and make it a destination for you guys to come back and tell your grandkids and your family, whoever it is, and be proud of it, because your time here was valuable, and we appreciate everything that you guys have done for Apprentice Athletics. So with that, I would like to call up our president of the Apprentice Athletic Booster Club, Keisha Anderson.
Hello. It is my honor and pleasure to be here tonight. There are so many faces and people that I've had a chance to connect with, and I'm seeing some now that I haven't had a chance to, and I will while you're eating. But yes, Keisha Anderson, currently the Director of Trades Training at the shipyard, so I oversee all the training programs for the craft workers who give them the skills and qualifications they need to build the best ships in the world. It's my honor to be here tonight because this is a big deal. As the president of the Apprentice Athletic Booster Club, and we've changed our name, we're not the Apprentice Athletic Club, we're the Apprentice Athletic Booster Club. It's my honor to be here because we felt the need and saw the need to help to fund this. And it's because what our apprentices do and have done for over 100 years is significant. They have built the most impressive, complex warships in the world while playing sports in their spare time. There's no such thing when you're a shipbuilder. There's no spare time. And they've done it amazingly. And so anybody who's inducted into this Hall of Fame is tremendous. And I want to give homage to the people who are being inducted tonight. You're going to hear about them. That's why I have this piece of paper. Micah and Maverich. He was my assistant wrestling coach when I was the athletic director there, but now he is the head coach. Paul Hoffman, he was a football coach. Paul Hoffman was not just a football coach. Paul Hoffman was like everything. He was the admissions director. He was everything. He's the reason why, in a lot of ways, we have an athletics program. Kenny Selfie, football, baseball, track. Conky Sorrell, baseball. Wayne Vick, baseball and basketball. So excited to celebrate them tonight. But what I want to share with you about the Apprentice Athletic Booster Club is that we're going to be a little different than what we've been in the past. In the past, we were a social club. You came, you paid your $35, $40, $45 membership for your family, and you hung out at games. You got free meals at 5 home games. You got a free gift, and it was a feel-good club. But that's not what the Apprentice School needs right now. The Apprentice School needs people who will back the athletes and the coaches and the administration that are trying to build more than just ships. They're trying to build leadership. They're trying to build coachmanship. They're trying to build a program that teaches people what it really means to be part of a team that understands the basics: communication, teamwork, sacrifice, dedication, accountability. All those things come in sports, right? And we all knew that all the time, but we didn't have a place to advocate for that. And that's what the Booster Club is going to become now. Many of you have seen the signs in the back of this amazing, futuristic, athletic facility. The athletes that we're talking about today that do the things they do, that go to work 8 hours a day or maybe more, and then come to practice 4 hours a day, and then go home and do an hour or two of homework a day, and then wake up and do it all over again, like I did. The people who do that, they're special people. When they don't do it well, they fall out. But when they do it well, they're special people. And what you see in those pictures is a facility they deserve. Long ago are the days when the women's basketball team needs to get dressed in a 2-person stall bathroom. 2-person stall bathroom, that was my reality. I got dressed with 14 other women or 12 other women or 10, whatever the count was, in a 2-person stall bathroom because there wasn't a locker room for women. Because it was a shipyard, right? We've gotten better since then, but we're not all the way there. And our athletes deserve the absolute best if they're going to compete on a national level. So yes, this is your public service announcement from the Booster Club president. If you are not involved in supporting Apprentice Athletics, everything this is about, everybody that we're celebrating, all these people became who they are because they were part of Apprentice Athletics. Their greatness, it was more than sports. They contributed to the community, they contributed to so much more than just the shipyard, and you can't even say just the shipyard, because the shipyard right now is what all of us need. We need to build great ships and submarines. But These athletes are committing from day one to do that. So why not consider the fact that we have created a membership structure? A membership structure that costs a little bit more. You get more benefits from it. You do. But it also creates value to the Apprentice Athletics program. Maybe consider the saying that you saw about the sponsorship structure. You know? Sponsor one time, just one, if not every year, just one time. And give to a cause that really is dedicated to people who don't mind working hard. They're not afraid of that. They do it every day. And they continue to do it in the backgrounds, and we don't even know it. So I'm in my soapbox. Jeff gave me the soapbox. I'm living my best life right here. But I am so enamored about being here tonight, primarily because, and I say this out of humility, I've had the opportunity to be inducted into this Hall of Fame twice, once as a team and once as an individual. It means something. It does. It affects how you feel like how you showed up in this life. And the people we are inducting tonight deserve that same recognition. Hoffman, you always stand up. You're always like extra. I see you back there. And Hoffman told me that I should call out, help me. Don't leave me here. The name, I had it. No, it wasn't Herb. Herb is great. Herb is amazing. Is Herb here? Oh, okay, car trouble. Either way, I'll move on. I digress. My whole point is that there's people here who have committed their lives and every ounce of their energy to making this company great, to making their sport great, and tonight is just the epitome of that. It really is. So, consider being a true booster, not just a club social member that gets free stuff. Consider contributing to the cause of raising $12 million to renovate that building. And so with that, I'm going to ask if y'all will toast with me. That's why I brought my wine. Will you toast with me and say it's worth the cause committing to? The Apprentice Athletics Booster Club, to the athletes, to the people, to the coaches, to the administration that recognize this is special. Cheers. I'm going to mic drop after that. Who's next?
Thank you, Keisha. So before we get into dinner, I do want to honor those of us here tonight that are former Hall of Famers. So if you're a former Hall of Famer in one of the first 5 classes that we have, do you mind standing up for us? Thank you all for coming back and celebrating the newest inductees to the Hall of Fame that you're all in. So now we're going to get into dinner. Again, the bar's still open, so feel free to make your way back there, continue to get drinks. The staff here at the Holiday Inn will be bringing meals out shortly. Before the meal service starts, I'd like to bless the food, so if you'd pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come and celebrate those past and present Hall of Famers, dear God. Thank you for allowing everyone to get here safely. We ask that this ceremony glorify you in all that we think and say and do. And we ask that you bless this food, let it nourish our bodies, send us to do your will, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Bon appetit. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and continue on with our programming. Please feel free to continue eating. Dessert on the table. Bar continues to be open, so please make sure you take advantage. But please continue to eat and fellowship. But we want to go ahead and get started with our inductees and formally inducting them into the Hall of Fame. For those of you who weren't able to join us last year or haven't heard, we're doing things a little bit differently. There's, like I said earlier, no podium here, no formal induction speech. We're going to invite each one of the inductees that are here up and have a conversation more so about their time at the apprentice school and what the school and the shipyard have done for them throughout their careers, both athletically and professionally. So without further ado, we're going to start with our first inductee who sadly couldn't be here with us tonight. This inductee played baseball at the apprentice school from 1949 to 1952. The teams went 24 and 21 during that time, and the 1949 team was the first varsity baseball team since the early 1930s. This inductee was a left-handed pitcher and outfielder, sported a perfect 4-0 record in the 1950 season when the team went 6-6. He continued his education at the Newport News Apprentice School, graduating as a whole draftsman in 1952, and mentored many young people over his years at Newport News Shipbuilding until his retirement in 1990 as a general foreman. After retirement, he could be found at War Memorial Stadium supporting the baseball team all the time, talking to anybody and everybody in attendance. Earlier this year, this inductee sadly passed away, which is why he's unable to join us, but his family is here to accept the award on his behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest inductee to the Apprentice School Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Conkey Sorrell. You guys come up. Jeff Enot's going to present the award. Of course, Mr. Sorrell couldn't be here with us tonight. The family has asked on his behalf if we could have a moment of silence to honor his legacy and all he did for the apprentice school. Thank you. One more round of applause for Mr. Conkey Sorrell. Our next inductee was a three-sport athlete in the late 50s and early 60s. He was a Gold Athletic Award winner, most well-known for his time on the track. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage the newest inductee to the Apprentice Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Kenny Self. Yes, it's on. Turn it on for you. Mr. Self, glad to have you with us. Congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. By all means, the microphone's yours to say thank you to whoever you'd like to.
Well, I would like to thank the organization that put the Hall of Fame thing together and thank them for making me a part of it. And I probably can tell you a lot about the apprentice school. I was there for 5 years, and I enjoyed every bit of the apprentice school. It's the best 5 years of my life.
So, talked about, most well-known for your time on the track, just some of the things that he was able to do while running track and field, the high jump, the long jump, the hurdles, holds the apprentice school record for the two 20-yard low hurdles. Just on the track, what was your favorite event to run?
Well, I guess my favorite event was the 220 low hurdles. And, of course, I had other things to go with. I ran the 100-yard dash. I did run the leg on the relay sometimes. But I had also to get ready to run the high hurdles, the high jump and the broad jump. You know, you had to do all your run, get set, and do all that. So I usually was doing 5 or 6 events each track meet.
When you think back to your time at the apprentice school and going through the process and, of course, running track and also playing football and basketball, what memories stand out the most? I know that you went on to the machine shop and had a 40-year career with Newport News Shipbuilding after you finished with the apprentice school. Just talk about some of the memories that you have from your time as an athlete and an apprentice.
Well, I guess the guys that I was playing sports with, I was able to make a lot of friends. And, you know, it's been 63, 64 years since I graduated. So I'm going to try to reach back and tell you a little bit. But I enjoyed apprentice school, what it had to offer. And when I arrived at the apprentice school in 1955, it was in the middle of the night. I went in the dormitory. Mr. Fleet was at the dorm. He was the keeper there, and he put me. A friend of mine came down with me, and so he put us up for the night. And then the next day, we were assigned our room where we would be permanently. Of course, back then we had a dormitory, and in the dormitory we had the cafeteria. And we had the big complex right there on Washington Avenue was the athletic building and the football stadium behind it. And so everything was right there together. The school was in the shipyard. And so all of these things were very convenient. Newport News was a neat little town, and had 4 theaters in it. Restaurants. You didn't have any problem, you know, when to go to a restaurant or anything. And everything was in walking distance. We didn't have to get in the car or go anywhere. You could walk till you got there. So it was quite an experience for me. Probably, like I say, maybe one of the best 5 years of my life. And then, of course, when I came into apprentice school, and I was able to get into the atomic power design, and I got in there specifically at a good time because we were going to design and build the Enterprise, the only one of its class. And so that was a real treat to be able to be a part of that.
And I was going to ask you about that, helping build and design the Enterprise. You know, I'm sure you saw a lot of apprentices come through as well to school, being with Newport News Shipbuilding for so long. How have you seen the school and the shipyard grow in the time since you came to the apprentice school?
Well, I've seen it grow. When Timico came in, they changed things a little bit. They took the dorm away, used it for shipyard purposes, and then the dormitory was no longer available to the apprentice boys. And so that was one big change as far as the apprentice school was concerned. And then they had to move the football field over on Warsaw Avenue over there where the new design building was. And then I guess I could say that moving the school itself up on Washington Avenue for where it is now, that was a big change and a good change. It really was. But the one thing I missed in the old school, on the top floor, we had pictures of World War II all around the wall. different things, different, there are different people doing their job in the military and so forth. And it was big on that. And that's the room we met in all the time when we came to come together and talk. And so those memories of that, I was hoping that the new Prentice School would take all that stuff that was on the wall and move it to the new one, but they didn't.
One more question for you. Looking back on your time, and we have people watching us, on our live stream, and a lot of potential apprentices that are going to be watching this as well. If you had any piece of advice from your time as an apprentice that you'd like to give to somebody, what would that be?
I would say give it your all. And we had a monument down in the shipyard. We shall build good ships here. At a profit if we can, but at a loss if we must, but always good ships. So that always stuck in my mind. So when I was going through my apprenticeship and when I was working in the shipyard, I always remembered that.
Congratulations again, Kenny, and welcome to the Apprentice Athletics Hall of Fame. Mr. Kenny Self. Thank you. Don't forget this. Mr. Self. Again, thank you, Kenny, and congratulations once again. Our next inductee played basketball, baseball, also played football, he told me earlier, during his time at the Apprentice School in the late 60s. Ended up coaching as well. Did a lot at the Apprentice School in Newport News Shipbuilding. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage the newest inductee to the Apprentice Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Wayne Vick. Wayne, congratulations on your induction. Microphone's all yours to thank whomever you'd like to.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the committee. We've been gone from Newport News for about 40 years. We currently live in Louisville, Kentucky. So a lot of these things have taken place that we didn't even know existed. So until I think it was David Hickman called me and told me about what was going on. I was really surprised, but I think it's a great honor to do this because the Apprentice School has never really done anything like this. So again, thank the committee. I'd like to thank my bride, 68 years. 58 years. I'm older than I think. December will be 58 years. She's been a big supporter of me in everything that I've done. I guess it's tough. You think about when we get started, when you mentioned about some of the sports that you play, you don't get paid. When you're making $1.96 an hour, it don't make much money, but we made it through it, and I'm grateful that I was able to do that. It's been a real nice experience.
Just some of his stats that we were able to get. In 1966, he averaged 15.6 points per game on the hardwood. In 69, he had a massive double-double, 25 points, 20 rebounds against Naval Prep. That's just on the basketball floor. On the baseball diamond, 35 consecutive scoreless innings in 1968. Had 5 shutouts and an average of 14 strikeouts per game. That's impressive. And was also named the Apprentice School Athlete of the Year in 1966. When you look back on your time, well, first off, and also played football, just talk about being able to juggle all those multiple things that you were doing on top of what you were having to do in the shipyard and also in the school.
Yeah, well, I guess I have to give some credit to the person that actually got me into the Apprentice School. He was the basketball coach then, Bill Casolo, because at the time, I wasn't going to college at the time, didn't know what I was going to do, but he showed an interest after high school and got me involved, and it was an experience for me to get used to working 8 hours a day, so that was quite a chore, to tell you the truth. But anyway, it's just been crazy, is all I can say. I think after I got through the apprentice school, I was in a couple of the machine shops in the planning, and then they had the 069 department. I was in that for a while, but I was thinking maybe it wasn't for me to be actually stay in the shipyard. So in 1980, I packed up my family, and that's when we moved to Louisville, Kentucky. And we've had a life ever since, But there's been quite a few experiences at the apprentice school, especially through sports, that they're crazy things, I can tell you a basketball game that we were at Chowan, and our coach at the time, it was really a bad game, and he got so upset, he refused to let us go back out on the court at halftime. We had to walk across the court, all the fans jeering and everything like that, but it's our decision to take a vote. We decided not to finish the second half of the ball game. So that was one thing. I can think of playing against teams. I played against Edwards Military when Pete Maravich played there, so we got to play against him. We played in a tournament at Fort Eustis, Virginia. I got to play against Earl to Pearl Monroe. Some of these people that were back in the 60s, y'all may not remember them, but they were professional ball players. And I guess my biggest disappointment was probably my last year. And of course, the apprentice, you're not on a scholarship. You're there because you want to play. And a situation came up where it was a ball game that wasn't scheduled, and of course, me, my dad, my brother, and another apprentice, Carol Birch, we were involved in a bowling tournament, city tournament, and we asked to be excused from it. The coach wouldn't let us do it. And we thought, well, he'll change his mind because the game was not scheduled, but he said, turn your uniform in and show up for the ball game. And we wanted to stick to our principles. But that was the last year, so it got out we had a bad attitude toward baseball. It hurt a lot. So.
I want to ask you about your time coaching. We briefly spoke about that.
I spoke about that a little bit. After I got through playing, a couple years later, the baseball coach left, and they had an interview for the head coach. And Doug Burrows became the coach, and I was his assistant coach. So I was able to coach baseball for 3 or 4 years prior to me leaving Newport News.
Yeah, and Doug Burrows, one of our Hall of Famers as well. Describe what that was like to be able to work with him.
Oh, he was a great coach. It was really strange because way back then you taught fundamentals, and you're up to you're playing you got 9 or 10 guys on the team, and you're teaching these guys how to play baseball. They're coming out of high school. Well, you got the 3rd and 4th place hitters, and they're saying, you're teaching them how to bunt. And they'll look at you and say, well, I never had to bunt in high school, so what do I have to bunt now? Just players that played every day, there was no problem, but you had players on the bench that wanted to play every day that couldn't. You got players that played a few innings, complaining because they couldn't play the whole game. So it was a whole different atmosphere of trying to appease baseball players, 10 to 15 baseball players. It was quite a challenge. I don't think I'd want to do it again.
What was it like to be able to mentor those apprentices? Because you went through the program, and then you're coaching kids that are going through the program. What was that experience like for you?
I guess at the time, everybody had a different trade, so you were having to coordinate some of the people had a hard time, getting off work or when they could get off work. But, I just tried to tell them, do the best you can while you're here. Again, I was a young person at the time, too, and I was coaching kids that were like 3 or 4 years younger than me. And so it was a child. I was able to relate to them at that current time. They weren't looking at me as someone that was an old man at that time, to show them what to do. I was showing them what was the current things to do. So I think most of them got an understanding of what I was trying to get across to them.
One more question for you, and it's the same question that I finished with Mr. Self. Looking back on your time, if you had a piece of advice to give to a future apprentice or somebody that's going through the program right now, what would that be?
Well, I'd say don't get discouraged. It's hard. If you work 8 hours, you get off work, then like I say, then you got to go to practice, then you got to go to school. But stick with it. It is definitely a very rewarding program to go through. It really is. So.
Most definitely. Wayne, congratulations on your induction. Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Vick. Our next inductee is a student athlete, had one of the best 2-year runs in the modern era of apprentice school wrestling, put together a 2-year record of 84 wins to just 18 losses on the mat. Can't wait to hear about his wrestling career. He is currently also the director of wrestling here at the Apprentice School. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest inductee to the Apprentice Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. Micah Mrozowitz. And Micah, congratulations. Microphone's all yours.
All right, so I'm from a younger generation, and I'm going to take notes, and I put them on my phone, mainly because I didn't want to forget some people. Well, first off, obviously I need to thank God, because obviously every opportunity I've had in my life is because of him. Then secondly, I need to thank my parents, because every opportunity I've had in my life is because of them as well. I could go on for days, by the way. My high school coach, Mike Benzel, if you come from Virginia Beach area or Norfolk, big wrestling coach. Bill Casto for hiring me as an assistant while I was still an apprentice. Keisha Pexton interviewed me for the head coaching job and instilled an understanding of setting standards outside of just athletics. Paul Hoffman made things easy in admissions for us all as coaches. My past coaches at the Apprentice School, Jeff Rusak and the late Matt Butler, who I had the chance to coach with as well. I hope he rests in peace. The coach I had the pleasure of coaching with for 10 years, and also an Apprentice Hall of Fame recipient, Bruce Shoemaker, who's sitting at the table that I was just at. And then I'm hoping my assistants get all loud for this one, but CASH. The acronym for the original assistant coaching staff that I had as a head coach. Chevres, Marcus Chevres that is, me, Kyle Spool, and Will Harcum. A staff that created and has instilled a system and culture that cannot be matched, and we continue to this day with athletic coached by CASH. Chad Simmons, an assistant coach who can handle anything. Also sitting at table 5. We say his area of expertise is miscellaneous. That's right. Wes Sori, who's been in charge of recruiting and beating up the big guys on the team. And by the way, we had 25 new wrestlers this year, so he's doing a great job. Marcus is still there, best corner coach in the world. Kyle Sproul is still there, the best toughness coach in the world. Erin Mosley, who is the first female wrestler and two-time national finalist, giving her time to coach with 2 young kids at home, leaving kids with also a former wrestler of ours, Jeremy Mosley. Both of them are sitting at table 5. Also an amazing man, by the way. And then Colton Messick. He's I could go on for days just talking about Colton Messick, to be honest with you. He's my associate head coach. And honestly, he's my lifeline to staying sane. His energy and organizational skills are the lifeline of the team. I think everyone should go ahead and give Colton Messick a round of applause. Lastly, I thank my wife. Not quite 68 years. Close though, 17. She has been with me from the beginning, since I was still wrestling. We have 2 kids at home. One is now in 8th grade, the other is in 9th. They have grown up and are great kids, mostly because of my wife. But it is through her patience and grace I have been afforded the ability to coach all these years, and I can't say thank you enough. Thank you, Tara.
So, again, some stats. I mentioned the 84 and 18 2-year record. His freshman season, 45 and 8 on the mats, and was named the most outstanding wrestler at the 2007 Virginia Duels as the Builders finished second in the American College Division. I want to go back to your time as a wrestler. What was appealing about the apprentice school and wanting to come into this program when you were looking at it?
Well, I just spent 2 years at VMI on a scholarship, and I came home for reasons we don't need to get into. And I spent a year off, and I wanted to get back. I was either going to go back to VMI, but I'd spent a year making money, and as a young kid, you like making money. And my dad worked at the shipyard at the time, and he said, "Why not the apprentice school?" I said, "I've never even heard of it. I live in Virginia Beach." It's pretty sad, actually. And he talked to Jeff Rusak, the head coach at the time. I think it was 4 to 6 weeks later I was in, probably because of Paul Hoffman. And the best part about being at the apprentice school as a wrestler, and the most appealing part was, honestly, I was like, I got a career, I can make money, and I get to play a sport. All right, this isn't even an option.
So, yes, your career has continued, obviously, as part of the shipyard. What do you take from your experience at the school, and how did that transition into your career, not only, behind the gates, but also in mentoring now apprentices that are going through the same program you did?
This is another topic I could speak for hours on. Great leaders create leaders. And so my actual athletic career is a blink in the 19 years that I've spent at the shipyard. And honestly, all I can think about is the coaching side of it. Everything from being an athlete and how you apply the hard work every day and your dedication is the same thing you have to do inside the gate working on aircraft carriers and submarines. And when you can translate those actions to everything you do in life, it's pretty easy to understand why a company would pay for athletics and the apprentice school.
I want to give you an opportunity while we have you here to talk about your team, your season getting ready to get kicked off. But a pretty big a bit of news that I know you want to share about this upcoming season in regards to hosting a pretty big event here in Newport News.
Like I said earlier, we have 25 new athletes. We have 6 females, so if you didn't hear, we started a female wrestling team officially this year. And go ahead and stand up, because you were still the first female wrestler to ever be in your apprentice school. We have 45 men, and if anyone follows wrestling at the apprentice school, it's always the school of hard knocks. And Shu can talk to this too, if you ever get a chance to talk to him before we leave here. But having people stay at the apprentice school over a long period of time is a hard challenge, right? So recruiting, finding the right people is important. So we pass up on good athletes all the time for above average athletes because we have faith in our coaching staff, and that, I don't know how to say that algorithm has paid off, and we've grown and we've grown and we've grown, and now we're at a point now where give it 2 years and we'll consistently have more wrestlers than any other sport in the school. I look forward to the day where I can see 25 athletes walk across the stage in 4 years. That's really the goal. And I know I'm steering away from the question, but I can't help it because I have the mic in my hand. But
Notice I'm not stopping you, Coach.
yeah. The season looks great, right? We've got a very tough schedule. The team's larger than we've ever had before. So there's a few events where we've actually had to split the team in half. So there's a few weekends this year where top half of the team is going to be going to very, very tough tournaments across the country. And then the other half of the team is still going to go to some decent, tough tournaments other parts of the country. I'm afforded that ability because I have such a large coaching staff, and really they're a family, just throwing that out there. What's coming up first, I have it in notes because I don't want to mess it up. So, October 25th, if you are in town and want to see 50 apprentices beat each other up, we have wrestle-offs, and it'll be open to the public. It'll be at the gym right beside the football field. So please come. January 18th, we have the Builder Invitational. Also open to the public. Please come, show up. And the big event will be January 31st and February 1st. We will be hosting the NCAA National Duels at the Apprentice School, which will be huge.
And just for reference, the national duels have been held all over the country, Iowa, most recently this past year. So to have that coming to Newport News, I know that you're excited to be able to host that, both as a coach, but also to be able to kind of, put the apprentice school in the spotlight nationally.
That's right. Let's hope that in 2027 we can bring the national tournament back to the Hampton Roads.
You're here. Last question for you, and you've heard the question asked a couple of times now. And I know you give this advice to your current apprentices and your wrestlers, but for those that are looking to come into the program, your piece of advice for somebody that's thinking about the program or that's going through the program that when you think back on your time would have been really something you wanted to hear?
Be good at your trade, but don't focus on it as your life. The apprentice school is a leadership school. we bring kids in so that in 4 years, they can lead others. We don't bring welders in to be welders for 40 years. We don't bring painters in to be painters for 40 years. We bring kids in to train them to lead others. So if you're a coach in this room at the apprentice school, my advice, whether or not I'm qualified to give it, is when a kid is recruiting or wants to be recruited at the apprentice school but is stuck on a trade, remind them that that will be a blink in their career. They don't need that trade. They need to lead and become management. So one thing I preach every day, and my coaching staff can attest to this, is that we want management in every division, in every department, from frontline to top in the company. When I reach out, because I reach out a lot, I want to be able to call someone that wrestled for me and say, I need this, and they know that it's me, and they make it happen. And if everybody in athletics from the apprentice school does that, we will take over the company. And when we take over the company, funding is no longer an issue. So,
Micah, congratulations on your induction, and an absolute honor to share the stage, and best of luck this upcoming season.
thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Micah M. Rosowitz.
I didn't talk too much there.
No, absolutely perfect. Our final inductee tonight was the head coach of the Builders during one of their most successful eras. But I'm going to turn the microphone over to somebody else to introduce him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Mr. Dave Gatteau, Jr.
Thank you. Good evening, and congratulations to the Apprentice School. This is a great event. I'm glad they started this. Outside of meeting my wife, this is, the Apprentice School is the best thing I've done. And the gentleman we're about to honor is why I was able to be a part of it. We all know him. It's Paul Hoffman. That's what he is in the address book, but he's more than that to all of us. I met Paul. My brother was at the Apprentice School. I was in the top row with a guy named Danny Engel. I don't know if you guys know him. Great guy. And I told him about myself. He goes, well, Naval Academy. I said, yeah. I said, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to be there. I just found out I couldn't fly. And I said, but I really like what you guys are doing down here. And my brother came down here because of the Bush. The Discovery Channel did a series on the Bush called Modern Marvels. And he wanted to go there ever since he saw that in the 8th grade. So I said, he goes, if you really like this place, I'm not the guy to talk to. He goes, but after this game, I can introduce you to him. And that's when I met. I looked up at him, I was like, he goes, this is the guy. And that guy is Paul Hoffman. So we all know him very well. He's not only a coach, but a mentor, a father figure to us. And you don't meet him in recruiting and he stays there. He's a lifelong family member. He's helped me move from state to state, everywhere I've been, and we probably talk once a month. So, like everybody, to give a round of applause to a family guy, part of my family, part of the Apprentice School family, Paul Hoffman.
I don't know what all the fuss is about.
Well, Paul, congratulations. Microphone's yours.
Thank you. First of all, Micah, you got it. And for there to be close to 50 wrestlers in our school, you got the message, and you followed what Shoemaker told you, and maybe I gave you a few clues too, but keep it going, brother. Here for Micah. We've already had all the attending Hall of Famers stand. There are many of you that I'm in awe of being considered in your club, along with Pat Phillips and Jimmy Wilson, a president of the company, a vice president. Especially in my heart is Willie Brown and his wonderful wife, who always greets me and hugs me. Just to be in their club is humbling. You did give me the mic, didn't you? When you need to. And Micah, I've already lost my cell phone tonight, so a little different style, but you're right. I think at this point, I have a few players here from, I think y'all are from the 90s, and I think every one of you were on the same team and crossed. And I would like you to stand up, Dale and Larry and Tommy and Rick and James Beckett. And Eugene Bryant. And each one of these guys, Micah talked on leadership. You're only a leader if they're willing to follow. I got two special guys in the back that I'll call up later, but I want to mention veteran friendship. Probably talk to them once a month, but not just coaches for me, but lifelong friendships. And when I was pacing the back of the room, neither of them were here. So Keisha kind of caught me off guard because I'm in back worried about two of my guys. And that's Russell Pettaway and Herb Fields. If you please stand up. The Peninsula Sports Club, the Apprentice School Administration, they've all been thanked. One particular group I think we overlooked in teaching us all leadership is, and probably over my 30 years, my biggest critics. I ain't seen you in a while, Paul. Where you been, Paul? What? But they are our craft instructors. Mr. Jimmy Jessup's here. He's their boss. Jimmy, stand up. And any craft instructor who is here. They are where the miraculous blend between industrial production and training occur. And those craft instructors are waterfront leadership, and that's where the tire hits the road of what makes the Apprentice School special. So, Jimmy, please echo that to them. You haven't asked a question yet.
Are you ready for me to ask you a question, Coach? Here's some...
You can sit this one out. You know, I mentioned Eugene Bryant. Eugene Bryant's one of our graduates. I got a call from his mother. Eugene's getting ready to leave the apprentice school. Eugene was the center for the 4 years run where we had 4 winning seasons in a row, which you can't find in the history books, okay? And it was these guys, and Eugene was the center. And I had recruited Eugene out of Cabin Creek, West Virginia. And somewhere in the directions of how to get to his house was go along the river until you get to the second holler and turn up in it. And the lady who had cooked me a wonderful lunch, his mom, his mother called me and said, Eugene's thinking of leaving. Don't you let him leave, Coach. And I said, Mrs. Bryant, I don't want him to leave, but as long as he's getting phone calls from his father who say, I miss you and I want you to come home, I can't do anything. She said, Coach, I'll call you right back. Within 5 minutes, she called me back and she said, I got stuff straight on my end. And now he is the pastor of a local church. I think Walker wants to say something.
I want to shout out that time that you were talking about with those guys back there. 31 games during that stretch, including a pair of 6-win seasons in consecutive years. 93, 6-2-1, with the final 6 games being wins, and until just a couple of years ago, what was the record for most points scored in a year with 292 points. Just kind of talk through what it was like to coach that group back there, and how good of players and apprentices they were.
That group was easy to coach. But they had Dan Graham and Andre Ross along with them, and they needed some coaching. But they, we were lucky then. We had running backs, Maurice Brown, Quincy Griffin, Ron Colston, and Hall of Famer Jeremy Bellamy, who we just had to organize them. I had a lot of help, and I have a help card here, okay? And this doesn't fit into the story. This is the beginning of the story, and this comes in about the middle, but I don't know when you're going to cut me off. But we had, I think you have to understand, when I was called to take the job, I had coached here 1 year. I went up to William & Mary as a grad assistant, got my degree, and Norm Steed left. And I got a call from a very true friend, and to this day, and Hall of Famer, Horace Underwood. And Horace had asked me before if I wanted to be the head coach. As a young guy, I said, Horace, if I'm a candidate, you let me know. If I'm not, so at the time, I wasn't. But anyway, Horace was the guy that got me the job. Horace says everybody's allowed one mistake in their life. But Mr. Reynolds walked me across the street to meet a vice president. And that vice president, I don't think we ever sat down in his office. But that vice president, here I am getting my first head college job, and he says, Paul, you don't have to win games. You don't have to sell tickets. You don't have to have fans and bleachers. You have to go find good people from our waterfront and provide them low-cost recreation. So they're the enthusiastic words I took the head coaching job with. But I put it in my hip pocket, and I never wavered. I went through 29 years of performance agreements with all these words on it, but that was my calling card. And they let me go find them. And I brought them back, and when Jeff called me about this, Jeff would shake his head. The first words I said to him was, "For what?" And you know what Horace told me? I mean, Jeff kind of stumbled because I didn't have a winning record. But Horace told me, we allowed you to go find kids, and not only did you find them and get them into apprentice school, you took care of them when you got them here. And because taking care of them came easy, because Joe Hoffman, Margaret Hoffman, these helpers who I'm going to mention in a minute, no time like the present. Charlie Wheeman was a coach. He drove the bus. We had trips, sometimes 11 hours, and we'd play all day, and then we had to go back, and Charlie got us home. I think he was the only man my mom kissed more than my dad. Ted Baycoat. Ted Baycoat was a U.S. Marine, a head coach in the area. One of our coaches, who I'll mention in a minute, said, you know, I used to go recruit kids at Ferguson Heights from Ted Baycoat. The principal would walk kids in. He said, "What'd you do? Are you going to do it again?" And the kid said, "No." He goes, "Bend over anyway." And Ted would, this was back in corporal punishment days. But anyway, Ted walked into me one day and he said, "Paul, you know these kids are going to take your kindness for weakness." And I'm like, and then he said, "Don't change." I said, "Oh, okay." He's also the guy, one day I was Sunday morning watching film, and Ted walked in, and, "Okay, time to go to Mass, Paul." And I said, "Ted, we got our butt kicked. I ain't got time to go to Mass." I saw Ted go, "Ain't got time to go to Mass." So, you know, certainly there was Judy Tyler in the admissions that kept me straight, and she had rumble sticks a lot tighter than Robert Lewis's. She made sure I didn't sway. Kim Dillard, Bill Casto, had great sports information directors, a true friend, the great Bob Moskowitz, Jimmy Heath. I mentioned Robert Lewis, and probably the best friend I ever had in life, that was Eddie Manley Jr. If you ever saw the movie Radio, Eddie Manley Jr. was the character from Radio. I walked into the apprentice school, just got the job, and there's the gym, there's nobody else there all day till the kids get there. And this guy walks in the front door, disheveled looking, walking in, and before I can say anything, he said, "Who are you?" I said, "Paul, I'm the new head football coach." "Well, I'm Eddie, the manager." And he and I developed a friendship, and sometimes it was convenient to take care of Eddie, and sometimes I'd had it up to here. I never had to worry about hurting Eddie's feelings when I had had enough, because Mark Tomlin, where are you, Mark? You loved him more than I did. And thank you for taking care of him. So where were we? So those marching orders were my crutch, my walk through the shipyard. Mr. Wallace, who had taken me that vice president, he said, Paul, if you need a travel authorization, ask Judy. If you need to turn in your receipts, ask Judy. And he said, go find us good people. And when I got back, I'm bringing them to school with no dormitory, no cafeteria, as you've mentioned, and they needed caring for. And as I was mentioning, other than my parents, in my athletic career, I met two gentlemen. One named Phil Janelle, who's here, and the other named Don McCauley. And those men cared. And Phil and Lee still have lunch with me. Well, they try to do it once a month. I don't slow down that much. But when I was at William & Mary, I was on full scholarship. I had a dormitory room. They paid for my classes. But that was it. I could eat when there was a team meal. When there wasn't a team meal, I didn't eat. But every day, Don McCauley came by that office at lunchtime and said, let's go get some soup. And he carried me to Shoney's soup bar and made sure I ate. I mean, 2 years. And so these men taught me to care. And it was easy to care for these guys. And I think that Horace Underwood said, we weren't the greatest coaches in the world, but he and Bill Casto and the great Danny Bookman surrounded me by great coaches, and I was able to care for kids, and I think that's why I'm here tonight.
Absolutely. Yes. So I want to get into all the other things that you've done at the Apprentice School, because it wasn't just the coaching that got you into the Hall of Fame. It was all the stuff you did behind the scenes as well. As many people have mentioned, Micah, Keisha as well, you helped kids get into the Apprentice School, which all the coaches in here know, and a lot of the other people in here know how difficult of a school the Apprentice School is to get into. I think the acceptance rate was lower than Harvard at one point. Just talk about what that
was teamwork too. That was low-cost recreation. I knew that we had to create this athletic program needed somebody to stand up for it. Horace had, and Norm Sneed and but every stadium we went into in the 90s, I walked in first, and I was pissing off as many people as I could to bring respect. So these guys had a team, a program they kept wanting to come back to. And the other athletics, Bill Casto was like, Paul, I need, I'm covering you. Danny Bookman was covering me. Great leadership, in my opinion. Phil Janelle was covering me. McCauley was coaching my kids. And I was kind of walking the halls of the Newport News, Hampton, and trying to talk up the apprentice school. I think to this day, a lot of people go, as Robert Lewis used to say when he'd going to school, "Where's the tall guy?" And so I was just trying to help our leadership give strength to our athletic program. And, you know, I'm sure I upset a few people along the way, but I think they got it.
Whether you upset people or not, you did a great job of helping get these athletes in for our athletic programs to be successful. I saw you brought a few things up onto the stage with you. Wanted to give you an opportunity to share those.
I'd like to call a couple people up here. I don't know if they'll come, but I coached him as an athlete, and at one point they gave me a stipend for a strength coach, and I asked Herb Fields to become our strength coach, and Casto had to approve him, but he's been there since 1990, and he'll be on the sideline tomorrow. And I have a very special picture here. And I wish Coach Fields would come up and accept this from me. Good luck tomorrow. And the air conditioner in my house is working real good, so if I haven't called you lately. And he's been very quiet tonight, but he's undoubtedly a guy we followed in the 4 years of playing. And Andre, I know you've been very disciplined in keeping yourself quiet tonight. And Hall of Famer Andre Ross. I've been cleaning out the garage. And Andre, if you'll help Keisha and Mark get that gym built, maybe you can hang that in the foyer.
Got the last question for you, but
Sure you want to talk about what might have been the greatest win?
well, yeah,
Great question.
yeah, go for it. I was going to say, I know there was one more. I saw you brought up 3 things, and I only saw 2 things get given out.
Well, you want to know the greatest win, and I wrote down here the worst loss. And it was the second game of my career, and we went to play Guilford. I had scouted them the week before by myself, and they had scored like 3 touchdowns apiece in 2-minute offense. And I wasn't a real offensive genius now. And I drove back from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, when I got to my father's house and got out of the car and walked up there, I thought I'd gotten way over my head. And when I saw my dad, I started crying. I'm a man. And he got me back to the apprentice school on Monday morning, and that team had a fantastic quarterback named Calvin Hunter. And I coached a little offense, and I talked to the defense about this guy, Calvin Hunter this, Calvin Hunter that. I don't know. He was in my head. And when we went down there, second play of the game, he rolls left, and 4 of our players hit him, and only 3 get up, and they were our players. And a coach who shall remain unnamed ran down the sideline to me and said, "You got it? That's apprentice school football. We don't have Calvin Hunter to worry about anymore." And the score of that game ended up being 17-20, and our quarterback was scrambling for a first down that would have put us in field goal position. And then right in front of me, the referee's big old foot, bigger than mine at the time, came down, and I knew where the ball had to be, and I saw that foot go 6 inches short, and I knew it. And anyway, we ended up losing the game, and team goes, and I'm walking across the field, and my dad, who I love very dearly, who never comes on the field, was walking across the field with his chin up, and after we had talked the week before, and I can't tell you what we went through there, and he said, "I think you're ready." And anyway, so one of the biggest ones I had was a loss. But this, a little note from then President Ed Campbell. "Paul Huffman, congratulations to your staff and the team on a major victory, and that was the Apprentice School 32, Wagner 19, and all these guys were freshmen. Larry, you were a little older, and we were doing Friday practice, and their bus pulled up. Their bus pulled up, they got off. We were on the far end of the game field, and they had a little practice field over there, and at the time, you didn't have all the bushes, and there was just a little guy wire. And they got off the bus while we were still practicing and stepped over and walked along about the 30-yard line on the other end. And our kids just looked at them, and the next day, that's what happened. And that was Andre and Eugene and Dale and Tommy, and they just had insulted our kids, and they bullied up. And the year before, maybe 2 years before, Wagner had won the Division III national championship. But these kids had, and that was the greatest win.
Looking back on your time coaching, helping out behind the scenes, what would be the piece of advice you would take from that time that you would give to those future apprentices or current apprentices?
Walker, I'm ready for that question. So, killing I came by naturally. But here's the advice I might give on top of what these people have been told. And that is, there are 3 people in this room. Now, you know in football, there's a lot of, and wrestling, sports, there's a lot of confidence that bounces off the walls. And there's a lot of, I guess, testosterone-driven stuff or, thank you. I wasn't very good at biology. But I'm going to tell you this. I ran into these three guys in my career. And that's Rex Fakes, Isaiah Roundtree, and Coach John Davis. John, where are you? I'd like those three people to stand up and sit down. To say when I met those three, they did not quickly embrace the love of Paul Hoffman that everybody else did. And I said this to two of them, and Coach Davis, a former Builder head football coach, if you want to get something, it's likely you're going to have to give up something to move forward together. And I'll liken it to a matador in a ring with a bull. And I don't know whether I had the cape or they had the cape. But I wanted to move forward with them, and as I talked to them, I found out that they really wanted to move forward with me. And so we all gave up a little something so that the two of us at three different times could move forward and accomplish something. And we walked out of the ring not with one of us dead with the flowers and or the horn. We walked out of the ring together. And that's what I would tell young people. You know, a lot of kids struggle with their folks, but don't be afraid to give up something to gain something.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Hoffman. Hey, you said I couldn't say anything about that. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give one more big round of applause for all of our inductees tonight? Again, congratulations to the 6th Hall of Fame class of the Apprentice Athletics Hall of Fame. By far, you've heard the stories tonight, very deserving of all their accolades that they've gotten. Before we go, a few housekeeping things, but also a few thank yous to say as well. I want to start off with the Holiday Inn here in Newport News. An outstanding job with meal service and hosting us here tonight. Thank you to the Holiday Inn. Absolutely could not have had tonight happen without the two guys standing in the back, Bruce White, on the music for us tonight. Thank you, Bruce. And then Dave Davenport, engineering our live stream for those that couldn't be with us tonight to watch the game. Thank you, Dave. I want to thank the Apprentice Athletics Booster Club board members that are here in attendance tonight. If you're on the board, please stand up so that I can properly thank you guys. Of course, Jeff Enott, the athletic director. And then, Paul?
I think we might be
One more couple of groups of people to thank. Cindy and Mark Tomlin, please stand up. All the work behind the scenes with the meals and the table assignments and coordinating everything. Thank you guys for all that you do for the athletic department as well. Also want to make sure that I thank the sponsors of the event, of course, Bayport Credit Union, the presenting sponsor of our Hall of Fame. I've mentioned the Athletics Booster Club, Venture Tours, the Holiday Inn, the F. Vail Sanders family, Teagle Financial Services, the Advex Corporation, Liberty Apartments, and Worley Home Services for all that they do. A couple of notes about tomorrow. Aisha, if you could hit the next button. Of course, like Jeff mentioned earlier tonight, we will unveil our physical Hall of Fame tomorrow at the Apprentice School building on Washington Avenue. It's an open house from 9 to 11. Please feel free to come in, see the building, play around with the new Hall of Fame, the touch screen that you see there. Like I mentioned, and like Jeff mentioned earlier, all of the past Hall of Famers that you see in your book, the previous inductees, all of their bios on there, as well as the people that we inducted here tonight. After you finish off with that, over at the football field on Marshall Avenue, starting at about 11:30 or so, we'll have our tailgate. Everybody here in attendance tonight has a ticket as part of their dinner package. That'll also get you a meal in our tailgate area down near the scoreboard. So when you park inside the facility, make your way toward the scoreboard and check in with some of our staff that'll be there, and they'll get you that ticket for a meal. And then, of course, at 1 o'clock tomorrow, like Paul mentioned, Coach Brown and his Builders take the field against Maine Maritime Academy for the first time in program history, and we'll honor the Hall of Famers again tomorrow at halftime. Again, thank you all for being here tonight and taking time out of your busy schedules to honor our Hall of Fame class, both past and present. Safe travels, and we will see you tomorrow afternoon at the football game. Good night.